Good morning. I hope you are doing well, and welcome to this quick lesson on how to use Metronome to set your quarterly priorities. So once you log into Metronome, which you should have gotten a welcome email and set up your profile along with your picture and the other basic information, what we want to do is have you do a few things in advance to get ready for our meeting. So as you see, this is the dashboard page, which will show you a few different things that we haven't set up yet. So right now we don't have any priorities or metrics set up. We also do not have anything yet for the numbers. What I want all of you to do is click over here on the Priorities tab, and you may see a different view. If this is the full view, if I click on this box, it switches to the compact view, which is very good when you're using iPads and devices like that, or you can click and get the full view. I want you to click to the Priority tab and make sure that first you have your proper name up here, and then also, I want to make sure that you have the right quarter set. So you can see, because we're still in quarter one today, that it defaults to quarter one. What I want you to do is switch to quarter two. And now what I want you to do is take some time to think about what are the three most important things that you need to be focused on in the next 90 days. And it's really important when you're thinking about these that you can break them down into something that's measurable and something that you can see happening on a week-by-week basis. All right, so let's, we picked this poor gentleman here, and we're ready to use him as a guinea pig to set up some priorities. So the first step is click on Add a Priority. And the first step is to say, what is it that I want this, what do I want to call it, right? So I'm going to call it, for the sake of a simple example, increase quality. And now that's not very specific, so we want to get very specific and use a, figure out what it is that we're going to measure. And so I'll say increase quality, which is based on return authorizations issued. Now, the next box is, can we tie this to a company priority? So you know that at the beginning of the year, we created some company priorities for the year and for the last quarter. Is there a company priority tied to? In most cases, you're not going to check this just yet because we haven't figured out the quarter two priorities. Make sure your name is there. Here comes the next part, which is when's this going to, and this is new from Align, what date will the priority start and when will you be done with it? Because not every priority is going to start and end at the end and beginning of the quarter. So that was one of the reasons, one of the things as we designed the software, we wanted to make sure we got right. So let's say that this goal is going to start not on April 1st, but on May 1st, and we're going to finish it by May 30th. Now here's another area that we want to talk about, which is there's different kinds of progress types. So I want you to pick the right one for you. So percentage base is the default, and that's an easy one, but also the least good one in most cases, because it's basically just saying that I'm going to declare what percentage I am done with completing this task, or this priority rather. So in percentage based, I can just hit add priority and I would be done. This tag area allows you to code things in whatever way you want, so you can remember. And down here is a detail box where I can type in whatever text I want to use to follow through on the steps or to document this goal more carefully. So in most cases, you want to put an explanation that would help the leadership team understand what 100% looks like done. So that's one type. The next type is what I'll call action item based. And so when it's action item based, that's going to mean that we're going to create a list of tasks that will be done with time bounds on it. And also we can assign those tasks to other people in the company. So let's make this one action item based, and we'll do some other ones in the other formats. So if we say increase quality based on RAs issued, we have a start date and an end date. And here's where we're going to start to add action items that will determine the steps required. Now remember, for a good goal, you want to be able to see every week that you're making progress. So a good rule of thumb is you want at least 7 to 13 individual tasks here that are the things that you're going to get done every single week, or at bare minimum every other week. You'll also notice down here there's a timeline that shows the beginning and end of this project. Okay, so as we go through, I'm going to add some action items, and I'll make it really simple. Do this. Do. And you'll see that it's starting to populate a list. I can also, in this particular case, I can assign Garrett to this task, and maybe I'll assign Fritz to this one, and I'll assign Guido to this one. And I can also set dates that these things are going to be due on. So, for example, March 29th. So now I have and obviously we would keep going and filling this out until we had the full list. You'll see now that it's adding up the number of steps. So each week when you're updating your priorities, you're going to check off a list, one of the items that's done on your list, and it will automatically update your priorities right here. So far, so good. So that's the first priority, using a task-based. Again, make sure you have 7, and make sure that you are getting all this information as clear as possible so people can see what's happening. All right, let's add another goal here, another priority. And in this case, I'm going to make it something that is using a different progress type. So I'm going to call this increase productivity and ratio. Okay, and so this is equal to labor hours over shipped revenue. So we're being, again, very specific about what it is that we're doing there. In this case, we'll have it run through the whole quarter. And this time, what we're going to do is use the customizable bounds function. And so let's just use, for the sake of example, that our current place, our start value, where we are today, is for every $1,000 of shipped revenue, we are using 5 labor hours. So that's our current value. And where we want to get to is a lower number. Let's say we want to get it down to 3 hours. Again, these are just example numbers that are there. I can add this priority to the system. And now you'll see there's a second priority here. And you can see that the goal is to move from 5 to 3 over April 1st to the 30th. Okay, so now I have the second priority for Garrett. Now, let's say that Garrett needs help from somebody else on the team to make this goal happen. And in this case, let's say that he is going to need let's say Fritz, to do a time study to get this work, to be able to accomplish this goal. So I'm going to put in here time study project. And I'm going to make this goal be action item based. And now I can go and edit this priority, which would have Fritz involved. And I'm going to say that this priority is going to start at the beginning of April, but we're going to be done by April 26th, let's say, for a simple example, right? Now you'll see as I'm creating this priority, it's showing what the parent priority is here. It's showing it related to that, how the timing works out. And I'm going to add some action items in here so you can see how that works as well. Okay, so we've got a few action items, and you can see when we go back to the parent priority, you can choose which one it is that's there. And so what I'm going to do now is be able to see the list in total. So you'll notice I turned off this filter by position, and now I can see all the priorities here versus just some of them. So there's this little hide box. I can search for anything I want, but I can also use this to set up so I can see all of the priorities by switching that off. And so I'm going to go back to the parent priority, and now you'll see in the time bound increased productivity, there's this that belongs to Garrett. Then you have Fritz has got a sub priority, and you can start to see the timeline build up. So in some cases, you might have several different timelines that add up to the end goal. So there's our second goal for our friend. Now let's add one more. Again, you'll notice that we're going to add a priority. We're going to make sure that it's set for Garrett. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but we'll just use it for the time being. And let's add a third priority. The goal is to get 3 for each person. So this one we'll call make a new hire. Three new employees. Again, you want to be more specific than that. Again, get your dates right. And so I'm going to show you the last one, which is time-based, and I'm going to show you how to roll up sub-priorities. So in the case of time-based, it's really just about the beginning and end date, and it automatically tracks along. So that's all we have to do on that one. And you'll see that, again, that came through. It shows a regular linear curve. This is not my favorite one, but for some cases, this is a good way to put something in there. For the most part, you don't want to be using time-based for most of your things that you're doing there. My goal is to see that you have almost all your priorities in either action item-based, customizable bounds, or their roll-ups of the sub-priorities. So there you go. So now I've got my 3 priorities with sub-priorities underneath them, and as we build up for the whole company, you will get to see the whole list of all the things that you need to get done. Okay, so let's do one more thing just to make sure that you're up to speed, and I'm going to create one more priority, which is I'll make this a top level priority so you can kind of see how the roll up works. So this might be improve my department. Now that's not very specific, is it? However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this as a priority. And for now, I'm going to make it a roll up of sub priorities. Add the priority. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make all of the other 3 goals to be underneath this one. So hire 3 new improve my department. Please do it. That's goal number 1. And last one here. Okay, so when we're done, you start to see the tree being built up, which is my number 1 goal is improve my department, and it's the rolled up average of all the goals underneath it. So you can see it's already at 44% because I did one of the things here, and we're at the beginning of the quarter, so everything looks right. You know, this one's time bound, which means it's green, etc. So that's quickly how to set up your priorities. That's the first step that I want you to do, is get this in. You don't have to get it perfect, but what I do want to see is how it all lays out, and that the most important thing is that you have your top 3 things you need to do to move the company forward based on the 1 HAG goals and the 3 HAG goals that we put into the plan a while ago. Look at those, look at the survey results, and think about what you need to do to improve your team and your business as it relates to those things, and that should get you pretty far. You'll also notice down here, you can see the whole Gantt chart that shows how all your goals line up. So as you do this, this will build up for each person and each department. Hope that's clear. The last thing that I want you to do to be ready for our meeting is to go to the scorecard view over here. And in the scorecard view, I want to make sure that you get a few things in here that will help us see better what you're trying to accomplish. So you can see here I've got Jarrett here again. I'm going to put edit on so I can change things. Here's our core values. Here's the position, functional accountabilities, and competencies. What I want you to do is think about what is the mission of your role in the company. You may already have this, fill this in. I also want you to go in here and add accountabilities of the top 5 things that you need to be able to do well to do this job. So what are the top 5 things? It might be hiring great people. It might be making sure that you're productive, etc. But come up with the top 5 things that you think need to be in place for you to do a great job in terms of skills. And for now, leave the competencies out. Those are things that we would add over time that are skills that we want you to learn and grow in your role and your responsibility in the company. So for example, it might be, if you're in the HR department, is to learn how to do top grading by attending an online course. If you're in the accounting department, it might have something to do with taking a class to how to use pivot tables and data capabilities inside of Microsoft Excel. So that's a place to put those targets that you're going to put into your scorecard for the next level. So that's all I had for you today. Feel free to call me with any questions, and we'll look forward to seeing you in about a week. Thank you.